The numbers don't lie. They never do. And right now, the James Webb Space Telescope is feeding us data that rewrites everything we thought we knew about interstellar objects. 3I/ATLAS isn't just passing through our solar system, it's hunting, targeting, and Mars is directly in its crosshairs. For 18 months, astronomers tracked this enigmatic visitor as it carved an impossible arc through space, a trajectory so precise, so calculated, that natural physics alone can't explain it. But Webb's latest deep field analysis has revealed something that's sending shockwaves through every space agency on Earth. 3I/ATLAS has changed course. Again. And this time, the red planet has become ground zero for what could be the most catastrophic impact event in recorded history. This isn't just another space rock drifting aimlessly through the void. The spectroscopic data shows structured gas emissions, rhythmic outbursts, and velocity adjustments that mirror spacecraft maneuvers. Whatever 3I/ATLAS is, it's behaving less like a comet and more like a guided projectile. And the window for impact is closing fast. When 3I/ATLAS first appeared beyond Neptune's orbit, traveling at an unprecedented 94 kilometers per second, scientists celebrated. Another interstellar visitor, like Oumuamua before it, offering glimpses into the cosmic wilderness beyond our solar neighborhood. But celebration turned to confusion when the object began exhibiting behaviors that defied every model of cometary physics. Traditional comets slow down as they approach the inner solar system, their icy cores sublimating under solar radiation, creating the familiar glowing tail. But 3I/ATLAS did something unprecedented. It accelerated. Not gradually, not randomly, but in calculated bursts that occurred every 23.7 hours with clockwork precision. Webb's infrared sensors detected these propulsion events as brilliant flashes of superheated gas, each one adding exactly 0.3 kilometers per second to the object's velocity. The European Space Agency's Gaia Observatory confirmed what everyone feared to acknowledge. These weren't chaotic outgassing events triggered by solar heating. They were controlled burns, deliberate course corrections, and each adjustment brought 3I/ATLAS closer to a perfect intercept trajectory with Mars. Dr. Sarah Chen's team at the Harvard-Smithsonian Center for Astrophysics ran the calculations 17 times. The margin of error kept shrinking. What started as a distant flyby with a closest approach of 12 million kilometers had narrowed to a terrifying 847,000 kilometers, then 340,000. Now, with Webb's latest orbital mechanics data, the projected missed distance has collapsed to just 23,000 kilometers, close enough that Mars gravity could capture the object entirely. But the most disturbing revelation came from Webb's near-infrared spectrograph. Hidden within 3I/ATLAS's coma, the glowing envelope of gas and dust surrounding its nucleus, were molecular signatures that shouldn't exist. Complex hydrocarbons arranged in geometric patterns. Silicon-based polymers that form only under extreme pressure and temperature conditions. And most shocking of all, isotopic ratios of carbon and nitrogen that match no known stellar formation process in our galaxy. These aren't the building blocks of natural comets. They're the signatures of artificial construction, engineering, design. The implications sent tremors through the scientific community. If 3I/ATLAS is artificial, then someone or something launched it toward our solar system with surgical precision. The object's trajectory, when traced backward through galactic coordinates, originates from a region of space containing no known stellar objects. No stars, no planets, no gravitational sources that could naturally eject such a massive projectile. It emerged from empty space as if materializing from the cosmic void itself. Radio telescopes across the globe began detecting something even more unsettling. Faint electromagnetic pulses emanating from 3I/ATLAS in the 1420 MHz range, the same frequency used by SETI to search for extraterrestrial intelligence. But these weren't random signals. They formed a mathematical sequence based on prime numbers, each pulse duration corresponding to the Fibonacci spiral found throughout nature and consciousness. The message was unmistakable. 3I/ATLAS wasn't just aware, it was communicating, and it wanted us to know that its approach to Mars was intentional. As the object crossed Jupiter's orbit, something extraordinary happened. NASA's Juno probe, stationed in Jovian space, detected gravitational anomalies that defied physics. 3I/ATLAS was somehow generating its own gravitational field, one that pulsed in rhythm with its gas emissions. The field strength varied between zero point 0.7 and 1.3 times normal mass expectations, as if the object could manipulate its own gravitational signature at will. This revelation shattered conventional understanding of matter and energy. No known material could produce variable gravitational effects without changing mass, unless 3I/ATLAS contained exotic matter, theoretical substances that exist only in the most advanced physics models. Matter that could bend space-time, manipulate gravity, and potentially serve as propulsion for interstellar travel. The Chinese National Space Administration's Tianwen-3 orbiter, positioned near Mars, began detecting unusual electromagnetic disturbances in the planet's magnetosphere, patterns that intensified as 3I/ATLAS approached. The Martian magnetic field, normally weak and irregular, started exhibiting structured oscillations that matched the incoming object's signal frequency, as if Mars itself was responding to 3I/ATLAS's presence. Ground-penetrating radar from the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter revealed something that left scientists speechless. Deep beneath the Martian surface, in regions previously thought geologically dead, massive crystalline structures began exhibiting thermal activity. These formations, buried under kilometers of rock and ice, were warming up, activating, preparing for something. The most chilling discovery came from Webb's multi-object spectrograph. 3I/ATLAS wasn't just heading toward Mars, it was scanning the planet. Coherent beams of radiation swept across the Martian surface in systematic patterns, mapping geological features, atmospheric composition, and subsurface structures with precision that surpassed our most advanced planetary surveys. Whatever intelligence controlled 3I/ATLAS had been studying Mars for months, cataloging every crater, every mineral deposit, every potential landing site. The red planet wasn't just a target, it was being prepared for something. But what? The answer came from an unexpected source. Dr. Maria Santos, analyzing archived data from the Viking missions of the 1970s, discovered thermal anomalies that had been dismissed as instrument errors, patterns of underground heat that formed geometric shapes across the Martian landscape. When overlaid with 3I/ATLAS's scanning patterns, the correlation was perfect. The object wasn't just mapping Mars, it was following a blueprint that had been encoded into the planet's geology for decades. Someone had been preparing Mars for 3I/ATLAS's arrival long before we even knew the object existed. As 3I/ATLAS crossed the asteroid belt, its behavior became increasingly erratic. The controlled gas emissions intensified, creating a tail that stretched over 50 million kilometers behind the object. But this wasn't a typical cometary tail dispersing randomly into space. Webb's polarimetry revealed that the tail was structured, organized into distinct streams that formed complex geometric patterns, visible only under specific light wavelengths. These patterns weren't random. They were symbols, glyphs, a language written in cosmic dust and gas, stretched across millions of kilometers of space. Linguists and cryptographers worked frantically to decode the message, but the symbols defied every known communication system. They seemed to operate on mathematical principles that transcended human understanding. The breakthrough came from an unlikely source, a team of quantum physicists studying consciousness and information theory. The symbols weren't meant to be read like text. They were quantum states, probability clouds that collapsed into meaning only when observed by conscious minds. 3I/ATLAS wasn't just sending a message, it was transmitting consciousness itself. As the object approached Mars' orbital distance, something unprecedented occurred. The planet's two moons, Phobos and Deimos, began exhibiting synchronized orbital perturbations. Their usually stable paths around Mars started shifting in response to 3I/ATLAS's gravitational field. But the movements weren't chaotic. They were choreographed, as if the moons were being repositioned for optimal viewing of whatever was about to unfold. Webb's coronagraph detected massive energy buildups within 3I/ATLAS's core. The object's internal temperature spiked to over 2,000 Kelvin, far beyond what solar radiation could produce. Neutrino detectors worldwide registered particle emissions consistent with controlled fusion reactions. 3I/ATLAS wasn't just a passive projectile, it was powering up. The global space community held its collective breath as impact projections refined to terrifying precision. 3I/ATLAS would reach Mars in 72 hours. The impact site, Olympus Mons, the largest volcano in the solar system, a location that would maximize the dispersal of impact debris across the planet's surface and into its thin atmosphere. But as the final hours approached, something extraordinary happened. Mars began responding to 3I/ATLAS's presence in ways that defied geological understanding. Seismic sensors detected rhythmic vibrations deep within the planet's core. The Martian magnetic field strengthened dramatically, forming protective barriers around specific regions of the surface. Ancient riverbeds began showing trace amounts of liquid water for the first time in millions of years. Mars wasn't preparing for destruction, it was preparing for transformation. The truth became clear in the final moments before impact. 3I/ATLAS wasn't a weapon, it was a key, a cosmic catalyst designed to unlock something that had been dormant within Mars for eons. The geometric patterns in its tail, the quantum consciousness transmissions, the gravitational manipulations, all of it was an activation sequence for technology buried deep within the red planet's core. As 3I/ATLAS made contact with Olympus Mons, the expected explosion never came. Instead, the object seemed to merge with the mountain, its exotic matter integrating with the volcanic rock in a display of controlled fusion that lit up the Martian sky like a second sun. The mountain itself began to glow, revealing massive structures hidden beneath its surface, structures that were clearly artificial, clearly ancient, and clearly waiting for this exact moment. Webb's final transmission before communication blackout showed Mars transforming before our eyes. The polar ice caps began sublimating rapidly, thickening the atmosphere. Vast networks of underground channels filled with liquid water. And from the peak of Olympus Mons, a beam of coherent energy shot into space, carrying a message that would take 4 minutes to reach Earth. When the signal arrived, it contained something that changed everything. Not just data about Mars transformation, but coordinates, star maps, navigation charts pointing to dozens of worlds across the galaxy where similar activation events had occurred. 3I/ATLAS hadn't come to destroy Mars. It had come to invite Mars into a galactic community that had been waiting for the red planet to awaken. The implications were staggering. Mars had always been more than just a planet. It was a dormant member of an interstellar civilization, placed in our solar system as an observation post, a research station, a bridge between Earth and the cosmic community beyond. And now, after millions of years of slumber, it was finally coming online. As communication with Mars slowly resumed, the first images from the transformed planet revealed landscapes that seemed almost familiar, yet utterly alien. Cities of crystal and light emerging from ancient lava tubes. Atmospheric processors converting carbon dioxide into breathable air. And in the distance, new structures rising from the Martian soil, launch platforms, communication arrays, and what appeared to be massive gateways pointing toward the stars. The age of Earth's cosmic isolation was ending. Mars had become our gateway to the galaxy, and 3I/ATLAS had been the key that unlocked it. But with this revelation came a sobering realization. We were no longer alone in the solar system. We never had been. And now, as Mars awakened to its true purpose, humanity faced its greatest challenge yet, proving ourselves worthy of joining the galactic community that had been watching us all along. The story of 3I/ATLAS and Mars is just beginning. As the red planet continues its transformation, as new signals arrive from across the galaxy, as we prepare for our first contact with intelligences beyond Earth, one question remains. Are we ready for what comes next? The universe has just knocked on our door. Mars has answered, and now it's our turn to decide whether we're ready to step outside and meet our cosmic neighbors, or whether we'll remain forever looking up at the stars, wondering what might have been. The choice is ours. The invitation has been extended, and Mars, our ancient neighbor, our cosmic gateway, our bridge to the stars, is waiting to show us the way home. What do you think lies ahead for humanity as Mars awakens? Are we ready for galactic citizenship, or will we remain cosmic children, afraid to leave the safety of our planetary cradle? Share your thoughts below. Subscribe for more revelations from the edge of space and time. And remember, the universe is far stranger and more wonderful than we ever dared imagine. The truth is out there, written in the stars, and Mars has just begun teaching us how to read it.